We walk past these massive Gothic cathedrals and often view them as silent, beautiful relics of a bygone era. But these stones are not inactive. The master masons who built them utilized a complex encoded language that allows the architecture to communicate specific information to those who know how to read it. This system, often called the stone cipher, represents a deliberate intersection where mathematical precision and theological concepts are embedded directly into the physical structure. To understand this language, we have to analyze the building dimension by dimension, starting with the numerical patterns on the floor and working toward the cosmic alignments in the ceiling. Viewed through this lens, the cathedral functions as a dense preservation vault. It was designed to protect specific geometric and scientific principles from being lost or erased over centuries of upheaval. The base of this language is numerical. You will frequently find the number 3, used by builders to represent the mind, body, and soul, paired with the number 4, which anchors the structure to the physical world through the 4 seasons and the 4 elements. When 3 and 4 meet, they form 7. The builders used this number throughout the architecture, in the 7 side chapels and the 7 steps to the altar, to symbolize a state of divine completion. This diagram shows the height of the main nave measured against its width. The ratio is exactly 1.618, the golden ratio. By applying this number and the Fibonacci sequence to the blueprints, masons gave rigid stone proportions the mathematical signature found in living organisms. Moving into 2-dimensional geometry, the most crucial shape is the vesica piscis. When 2 identical circles, representing the intersection of the divine and the human, slide together, they create a distinct almond shape in the center. If you extrude that shape upward, you create the pointed Gothic arch. This was not a purely aesthetic choice. It was a geometric tool used to direct the viewer's focus toward a higher physical and mental perspective. These geometric decisions provided a blueprint for translating abstract mathematical concepts into a permanent physical reality. The complexity of the code increases in 3 dimensions. The floor plan of a cross-shaped cathedral often serves as a macrocosmic map of human anatomy. The altar corresponds to the head, the side aisles to the arms, and the nave to the torso. In the center of this space, many cathedrals feature a stone floor labyrinth. These are not mazes designed for confusion, but continuous single-path maps meant to be walked as a physical representation of the soul's journey. Building these structures required scientific knowledge that often sat at odds with official church doctrine. To protect their secrets, craftsmen etched their identities and levels of initiation into individual blocks using these geometric signatures, known as mason's marks. Even the exterior sculptures served a specific role. The outward-facing gargoyles were designed as sentinel figures, intended to visually represent the boundary between chaos of the outside world and the sacred geometry within. Inside, light itself was used as a tool. The chemical composition of chartres blue glass is so complex it remained a secret for centuries. It was engineered to flood the space with specific color frequencies that change how a visitor perceives the interior environment. Every element of the 3-dimensional space is positioned to manage how a visitor navigates the building. The layout and lighting combine to create a controlled environment that prepares the mind for the information hidden in the architecture. Introducing the 4th dimension, time, reveals a dynamic layer to the architecture. These buildings function as active solar calendars, tracking cosmic cycles with mechanical precision. At St. Sulpice in Paris, this brass meridian line precisely tracks the winter solstice. By observing where the light hits the floor at midday, the builders could track the air with extreme accuracy, long before the establishment of modern time standards. This tracking of time is paired with the manipulation of sound. The architecture contains acoustic engineering that allows specific patterns to be stored in the carvings, a concept known as frozen music. In Scotland's Rosslyn Chapel, researchers found that the geometric patterns on dozens of stone cubes match Chladni patterns, the physical shapes formed by sand when exposed to specific musical frequencies. The apprentice pillar in the same chapel features a complex double helix spiral. This intricate carving suggests the builders were recording an understanding of spiraling biological structures centuries before modern microscopes could confirm them. The proportions of the nave correspond to specific musical intervals. When those notes are sounded, the stone enclosure vibrates, in a way that researchers have found aligns with the alpha wave frequencies the human brain produces during states of deep focus. In this fourth dimension, the cathedral is revealed as more than a building. It is a functional acoustic resonator and an astronomical tool designed to synchronize with the movements of the sky. The mathematical foundations of these buildings remain intact today. However, the record is still being updated as modern restorers add their own markers to the masonry. On the 16th century facade of the Salamanca Cathedral, you can find a modern astronaut carved into the foliage, a 20th century addition made during restoration to mark the current era. This tradition of embedding modern symbols continues at the Washington National Cathedral, where a carving of Darth Vader serves as a contemporary gargoyle. These modern icons show that the cathedral remains a living document. The builders were less concerned with the permanence of stone than with the continuity of the message, an architecture that uses physical geometry to help a visitor map their own internal perspective. The geometric logic remains embedded in the walls, fully operational for anyone who understands how to interface with its dimensions. The path is set in stone. It only requires a viewer to recognize the patterns.